I've tried them all and none of them work. That was a comment left on a TikTok that I had. This person was extremely frustrated seeing all these different manifesting techniques, tried them all, none of them work for them. And I wanted to address this comment for everyone because it's really important. For example, you're scrolling social media, you're reading blogs, Reddits, articles, videos about all these different types of techniques, and you've tried them. You'll write affirmations out, you make a vision board, you tried coding some numbers, repeating numbers. None of them are working for you. And the problem is they're all designed for the conscious mind. And what you need to do to affect change is change the subconscious mind. That's why Dr. Joseph Murphy's book, that's why Dr. Joseph Murphy's book is called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and why the Silva method works on getting you to the subconscious mind into the alpha state to do the techniques like the mirror of the mind. I'll give you a concrete example of someone that did this, and then you can extrapolate it to your own life. One of my favorite teachers is Jack Canfield, and he tells this story, and I love it. He used to be a school teacher, and he was making $35,000 a year, and he was taking self-improvement courses and had a coach. And his coach said to him, I want you to set a goal that is so big and so outrageous that when it comes true, you're going to believe that this stuff works. And so he decided that he wanted to make $100,000. Remember, he's a school teacher making $35,000. That is a huge leap. And so one of the techniques that he did is he took a big green piece of Bristol board and wrote it out like a $100,000 bill. And he put it on his ceiling above his bed. Now that's important because it was the first thing he saw when he woke up, and it was the last thing he saw when he went to sleep. And that's when he was in the hypnagogic state. And that's when the veil thins between the subconscious and the conscious mind, and you can start to reprogram that subconscious mind. And he did that for 6 weeks and nothing happened. And then one day he was in the shower and he remembered that he wrote a little booklet that he would sell for $0.25. The story is a little dated. And he thought, well, if I sell 400,000 of those, I'd make $100,000. So how am I going to sell 400,000 of these? And his family got the Reader's Digest, and he realized it had millions of readers. And he's like, oh, that's a good idea. Called up their advertising department, realized it was too expensive. He thought no. Then he was out shopping and he spotted at the checkout the National Enquirer that had even more subscribers. He got one of those, called the advertising department, way too expensive. That wasn't going to be an option either. But he was also starting to do paid speaking engagements as part of what he was doing to further his income. And after one of his lectures, he got approached by a woman who said, hey, I loved that speech. This would be a perfect article. Could I interview you? And he said, absolutely. Who do you work for? She says, I freelance, but mostly I write for the National Enquirer. And he was thinking, do, 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 do. For those of you that are too young, that's the Twilight Zone music. And in the end of the year, he made like 96,000 something dollars. He was just shy of his goal. Was he upset? No. He was blown away that he pretty much got to his goal. And he said then 2 weeks later, he realized, I could have made that $1 million. Now, I don't think he could have, because the whole point was he was already stretching past what he was currently comfortable with. So he went from here to here. But to go to here would have been impossible. So it was an outrageous goal, and that was an insane goal. But now that he'd reached the 100,000, to go from 100,000 to $1 million, it would be a much easier leap because he's already stretched those muscles and programmed his subconscious mind to accept those thoughts. So if you've tried all these techniques and none of them have worked, what you need to do, like Jack, sit down, set a goal. One, you have to believe that you can achieve it. So Jack knew that he would achieve it. He had no clue how it would come about. And he was waiting for the ideas to come to him. And remember, he went 6 weeks, nothing. And I shorten the story. It was a whole year-long process, right? There's major gaps where nothing's happening on the surface to the creator. to the dreamer. So you have to expect that. I've done videos sharing where I've had manifestations happen instantly, some in a couple of days, and I've had a couple take a decade. I know, you don't like to hear that, but it's true. So what you need to do is sit down, write out your goals, and start taking steps towards them with the faith that they are going to happen, and trust that the universe, when you take one step toward the universe will take 10 steps towards you. So the books I recommend to help you on that goal is The Silva Method. I even teach a free introductory class for Silva Method Canada. And you can take a course. There's tons of free videos. Go check those out first. Helene Hadsel's The Name It and Claim It game. I have to give myself a plug. Hello. The Law of Attraction by Michael Loge is excellent. The Last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read by Andrew Kapp is excellent. If you want to see some inspiration on winning the lottery, go watch Timothy Schultz's YouTube channel. He interviews lots of lottery winners who have manifested their wins, including Sylvia Stafford, who won $1.2 million in the was it Mega Millions or Powerball, using Helene Hadsel's spec method. So I want you to take a look at all of those different things. And the first step, again, is to have the faith that you can do it.